What do we got going on today, cuz?
We got the Dakota, digital Dakota for the OBS. Are you recording?
Yeah. We got the Dakota Digital HDX 88 CPU. What year's your truck, cuz? We're gonna put it in a 93 OBS. Alright, that's the cluster there. Comes with that. The manual. The sensors. Should have an oil pressure and a coolant temp. So let's go. Here's your module. These two will be for the coolant temp and the oil pressure. This is for a different style speed sensor, so we won't be using this one. He ordered this module separately here. It's a OBD2 interface, and this will pick up your gauges as well. So the computer has its own RPM, speed, and all that, but we'll see. I don't know if we're gonna use it. You don't need it, but he ordered it, so we'll see. Let's go check out the cuz, see what he's doing. Give him some more light. Our coolant temp is gonna go right here on the passenger side head. Oil pressure, we're gonna pull from the back right there on the manifold, behind the manifold. And they send you the adapters so you can get the right fitting on there. What's done to the motor, cuz?
Aftermarket intake. It has a header, shorty headers. It has a stage 4 BTR cam. Electric fans.
The ICT pulley system.
Yeah. The alternator one also.
92 mil. Throttle body. It's tuned.
By Black Sheep.
Black Sheep tuning out of Bakersfield.
And stage 2
transmission. Stage 2 transmission. Harness by Ward Performance. Yeah, this one is a coolant temp. That's that speedo, so if you have like a TH350 Turbo 400 with a cable, this will convert it to a electronic signal instead of cable. So we won't be using that one. Yeah, that's the oil pressure? Okay.
But it has a fitting like this one.
Wait, but remember the other one had that?
Yeah, I have it in my pocket.
That crush washer?
Yeah.
It's just a lot of thread, no?
Because this is the smallest one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one. And then the crush washer, I don't know if this is the right size or that one. That's the one, cuz. What you got? What you got? You got the sensor in there?
Yeah, but I can't wait to say it.
So we got the oil pressure sensor in there and the harness plugged in. Next we're gonna hook up the coolant temp sensor, the Dakota sends, with the harness as well. So put the crush washer on both. The oil pressure is going to have one and the coolant temp is going to have one as well. Just put a little bit of Teflon. Alright, got the oil pressure sensor in, coolant temp sensor in, the wires, the pigtails. We'll run them inside the cab. We'll probably make a hole somewhere, run them inside, and then pull out the old cluster. Next we're going to pull out the instrument cluster. Alright, we made our cut on the inside. We might need to trim some more, that way we could hide this plug, because it's probably going to interfere when we get our cluster in there. We have a harness part of the plug right here that's going to come out of the cluster, and that is the same location where I was thinking of tucking this one away. So maybe once we make our connections, get all our gauges working, we'll snip this plug off and get it out of the way. I wasn't recording, I was just Alright, so we went ahead and pinned out all our cluster harness here. We got our right signal, left signal, high beam, what else we got, fuel level, illumination, ignition, power. I don't know if we have a constant power. 12-volt key on, and then we ran our sensor wires already in here. So we have our oil pressure, coolant. 3 of these are coming from the actual engine harness. So we're gonna have one for check engine light, one for RPM, and one for speed.
That one is check engine, the white one is tack, the green one is speed.
There you go. Yeah, there's one for brake right there. So we can wire that in. Alright, so now we'll go ahead and start plugging in some of our wires, test the cluster, and then clean up this harness. See how we're going to get this through back there and where we're going to mount our module. We're going to need a roll of wire, cuz. What do you want to use? And then that screwdriver Snap-on just gave you. And these are our sensor wires. The 2-wire is our temperature. And it'll show you on here positive and negative, red and black. Then we got oil pressure. This one is a 3-wire connector. So oil pressure's in, coolant temp's in, speed signal, tack, check engine light is a little short, but it'll reach down there. And then we're gonna have to make some wires for all the other stuff. everything, just leave it long right now, and then once everything's working, you can shorten it all up. There it is. The pages are on. We still need to hook up most of our signals. We should have oil pressure already. We should have coolant temp already. Voltage, obviously, that's hooked up already. RPM should read. It should need a calibration. Speedo will need a calibration as well. Alright, so we got the cluster all wired in. The only thing left is we need to set it to the right RPM. Fuel level, I believe, is already set at 90 ohms, but we'll check and see, make sure. And then we need to calibrate our mile per hour. Everything else is working already. Here's all our connections. We pinned it to the factory plug to the cluster. We're going to label all these wires, run them behind the dash, mount our module here, and then make our final connections once everything's cleaned up. But we hooked up our dim, check engine light, brake light, high beam, left signal, right signal, our temperature sensor, our oil pressure sensor, a ground. That was our fuel level, and then we hook up over here. We got our ground, our 12-volt constant, and our ignition power. We also got our tach here and our speed from the ECU harness. I'll go ahead and turn it on, show you guys. So RPM's reading a little low. I'm sure it's not set to the right engine. I think for an LS they want you to set that for 4-cylinder, and that should read correctly after that. We got our check engine light on. Not sure why, but we'll scan it and see. Our coolant temps going up. Oil pressure is at 42, 13.9 volts. Alright, so we got everything hooked up. We'll go ahead and turn on our lights. Show you guys how it lights up. There you go. Cluster's all done. It's our daytime lights. Go to hit them night, they turn white and blue. Got everything working, everything calibrated. There you have it. Little update on the K5. Got the doors on there. Got the body lines pretty close. Fender's mounted. We put a brand new starter on it. We figured out a wiring issue here. It wasn't getting power into the cab. And cleaned the carb, put some gas, and it fired right up. Next thing we gotta do, they had previously opened the diff, so I'm gonna end up using the differentials from the donor K5. This side too, we lined up the door, we lined up the fender. It's starting to look like a Blazer. Filling up that carb.
Yes, sir. Back it over. Well, I tell you, shit.